The Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, established in 1908, has played a pivotal role in enforcing federal laws and protecting national security in the United States. Over its more than a century-long history, the FBI has been involved in numerous high-profile cases, from combating organized crime and terrorism to espionage and cyber threats. However, like any large organization, the FBI has also faced its share of failures. This narrative examines some of the most significant blunders, missteps, and controversies in the Bureau's history, highlighting the causes, consequences, and lessons learned from these events. 1. The Palmer Raids, 1919 to 1920. The Palmer Raids, conducted during the Red Scare of the early 20th century, represent one of the earliest and most controversial actions taken by the FBI. Under the direction of Attorney General A. Mitchell Palmer and his young assistant J. Edgar Hoover, the Bureau targeted suspected radicals, anarchists, and communists. Causes and context. The raids were fueled by widespread fear of Bolshevism and radicalism following the Russian Revolution of 1917. A series of bombings in 1919, including an attempt on Palmer's life, further intensified public anxiety and led to a crackdown on perceived subversives. Actions and consequences. The FBI conducted raids in over 30 cities, arresting thousands of individuals, many without warrants or sufficient evidence. Civil liberties were grossly violated, and many detainees were held without trial. The raids were criticized for their disregard of constitutional rights and due process. Lessons learned. The Palmer raids underscored the dangers of allowing fear to override civil liberties. They served as a cautionary tale about the need for balance between national security and individual rights, influencing future FBI operations and policies. 2. Cointelpro, 1956 to 1971. The counterintelligence program, Cointelpro, was a covert FBI operation aimed at surveilling, infiltrating, and disrupting domestic political organizations deemed subversive. Initiated under J. Edgar Hoover, Cointelpro targeted groups such as the Civil Rights Movement, the Black Panther Party, and various socialist and communist organizations. Causes and context. Cointelpro emerged during the Cold War era, a time of heightened paranoia about communist infiltration and radical activism. Hoover believed that certain civil rights leaders and activists posed a threat to national security. Actions and consequences. Cointelpro employed a range of tactics, including surveillance, harassment, smear campaigns, and the use of informants to sow discord within targeted organizations. The FBI's actions were often illegal and unethical, violating the constitutional rights of American citizens. The exposure of Cointelpro in the early 1970s led to widespread public outrage and congressional investigations. The program's abuses damaged the FBI's reputation and led to significant reforms aimed at increasing oversight and protecting civil liberties. Lessons learned. Cointelpro highlighted the dangers of unchecked governmental power and the importance of transparency and accountability. The program's legacy influenced the creation of policies and safeguards to prevent similar abuses in the future. 3. The Assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., 1968. The FBI's handling of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. remains one of the most controversial episodes in the Bureau's history. While the FBI did not directly assassinate King, its prior harassment and surveillance of the civil rights leader have drawn significant criticism. Causes and context. Under Hoover, the FBI viewed King as a potential threat due to his civil rights activism and alleged communist affiliations. The Bureau engaged in extensive surveillance and harassment of King, attempting to discredit and undermine him. Actions and consequences. After King's assassination, the FBI launched an investigation to find his killer, resulting in the arrest and conviction of James Earl Ray. However, the Bureau's prior actions against King cast a long shadow, leading to public suspicion and accusations of complicity. Lessons learned. The FBI's treatment of King underscored the risks of allowing personal biases and political agendas to influence law enforcement activities. It highlighted the need for oversight and adherence to ethical standards in intelligence and surveillance operations. 4. The Ruby Ridge Incident, 1992. The standoff at Ruby Ridge, Idaho, is one of the most notorious examples of FBI mismanagement and excessive use of force. The incident involved a siege at the remote cabin of Randy Weaver, a white separatist, which resulted in the deaths of Weaver's wife and son, as well as a federal agent. Causes and context. The confrontation began over Weaver's failure to appear in court on firearms charges. The situation escalated when U.S. Marshals attempted to arrest him, leading to a violent standoff. Actions and consequences. The FBI's hostage rescue team was deployed, and agents were given controversial rules of engagement that allowed them to shoot on sight any armed adult male. This led to the tragic deaths of Weaver's wife, Vicki, and their 14-year-old son, Samuel. The incident drew widespread condemnation and led to investigations into the FBI's handling of the situation. It highlighted issues of excessive force, poor communication, and lack of proper oversight. Lessons learned.
Ruby Ridge prompted significant changes in the FBI's approach to handling standoffs and use of force policies. It also led to increased scrutiny of the Bureau's actions and the implementation of reforms to prevent similar incidents. 5. The Waco Siege, 1993. The Waco Siege was another high-profile incident involving the FBI's use of force, this time against the Branch Davidians, a religious sect led by David Koresh. The 51-day standoff at the group's compound near Waco, Texas, ended in a catastrophic fire that killed 76 people, including women and children. Causes and context. The siege began when the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, attempted to execute a search warrant for illegal weapons at the compound. A firefight ensued, and the FBI took over the operation.
Actions and consequences. The FBI's tactics, including the use of tear gas and armored vehicles, were heavily criticized. The final assault led to a fire that engulfed the compound, resulting in a tragic loss of life. The Waco siege raised serious questions about the FBI's decision-making, negotiation strategies, and use of force. Public and congressional scrutiny led to investigations and significant criticism of the Bureau's actions. Lessons learned. Waco emphasized the importance of restraint, negotiation, and proper planning in high-stakes situations. It also led to reforms in how the FBI handles sieges and standoffs, aiming to minimize the risk of similar tragedies in the future. 6. The Olympic Park Bombing Investigation, 1996. The FBI's investigation into the Centennial Olympic Park bombing during the 1996 Summer Olympics in Atlanta was marred by a significant misstep: the wrongful accusation of security guard Richard Jewell. Causes and context. After a bomb exploded in the park, killing 2 people and injuring over 100, Jewell, who had discovered the bomb and helped evacuate the area, was initially hailed as a hero. However, the FBI quickly turned its focus on him as a suspect. Actions and consequences. Leaked information to the media led to a public frenzy and Jewell's vilification. Despite his eventual exoneration, the damage to his reputation and life was profound. The real bomber, Eric Robert Rudolph, was not captured until 2003. The FBI faced intense criticism for its handling of the case, particularly for the rush to judgment and leaks that compromised the investigation. Lessons learned. The Olympic Park bombing investigation highlighted the need for thorough, unbiased investigations and the dangers of leaking information. It underscored the importance of protecting the rights and reputations of individuals under suspicion until conclusive evidence is found. 7. The Anthrax Attacks Investigation, 2001. The FBI's investigation into the 2001 anthrax attacks, which targeted media outlets and U.S. senators, killing 5 people and infecting 17 others, was plagued by missteps and false accusations. Causes and context. In the weeks following the September 11th attacks, letters containing anthrax spores were sent through the mail, causing widespread fear and disruption. Actions and consequences. The FBI initially focused on Dr. Stephen Hatfill, a biodefense researcher, as a person of interest. Despite a lack of concrete evidence, Hatfill's life and career were severely impacted by the investigation and media attention. He was eventually exonerated and received a settlement from the government. The investigation later turned to Dr. Bruce Ivins, another biodefense researcher, who was under intense scrutiny until his suicide in 2008. Questions remain about the conclusiveness of the evidence against Ivins, leaving some aspects of the case unresolved. Lessons learned. The Anthrax investigation exposed the challenges of dealing with bioterrorism and the importance of accurate, evidence-based investigations. It also highlighted the need for protecting the rights of individuals under investigation and avoiding premature conclusions. 8. The Robert Hanssen espionage case, 2001. The arrest of FBI agent Robert Hanssen in 2001 revealed one of the most damaging espionage cases in U.S. history. Hanssen had been spying for the Soviet Union and later Russia for over 2 decades, compromising numerous intelligence operations and endangering the lives of many operatives. Causes and context. Robert Hanssen, an FBI counterintelligence agent, had been providing classified information to the Soviet Union and Russia since 1979. His espionage activities went undetected for years, allowing him to pass on sensitive information, including the identities of double agents and details of U.S. surveillance programs. Actions and consequences. Hanssen's betrayal caused incalculable damage to U.S. intelligence efforts and compromised national security. His arrest in 2001 shocked the intelligence community and highlighted severe lapses in the FBI's internal security measures. Hanssen's case led to a thorough examination of the Bureau's counterintelligence operations and the implementation of stricter internal security protocols. The damage from his actions continues to be felt, as the information he provided had long-term repercussions on U.S. intelligence capabilities. Lessons learned. The Hanssen case underscored the necessity of rigorous internal security measures and the importance of vigilance in counterintelligence efforts. It also highlighted the need for effective methods to detect and prevent insider threats within intelligence agencies. 9. The Boston Marathon bombing, 2013. The FBI's handling of information prior to the Boston Marathon bombing in 2013 has been scrutinized as a significant failure in intelligence and preventive measures. The bombing killed 3 people and injured hundreds more, raising questions about missed opportunities to prevent the attack. Causes and context. In 2011, the FBI was alerted by Russian authorities about Tamerlan Tsarnaev, one of the eventual bombers, due to his potential ties to radical Islamist groups. The FBI conducted an assessment, but did not find sufficient evidence to continue the investigation or place Tsarnaev under closer surveillance. Actions and consequences. After the bombing, it was revealed that the FBI had been aware of Tsarnaev's potential radicalization, but had not followed up on the information provided by Russia. This led to widespread criticism and calls for better coordination and communication between international intelligence agencies. The Boston Marathon bombing highlighted the challenges in identifying and acting on potential threats with limited information. It also underscored the importance of effective intelligence sharing and the need for robust follow-up procedures. Lessons learned. The incident emphasized the necessity of improving international intelligence collaboration and the importance of thorough follow-up on leads related to potential threats. It also pointed to the need for enhanced protocols in assessing and monitoring individuals flagged for potential radicalization. 10. The Hillary Clinton email investigation, 2016. The FBI's handling of the investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server while serving as Secretary of State became one of the most controversial episodes in the Bureau's recent history. The investigation had significant political ramifications and raised questions about the FBI's impartiality and decision-making. Causes and context. In 2015, the FBI launched an investigation into Clinton's use of a private email server for official communications, examining whether classified information had been mishandled. the case gained intense media scrutiny and political attention. Actions and consequences. In July 2016, FBI Director James Comey held a press conference announcing that while Clinton had been extremely careless in handling classified information, no charges would be recommended. However, just days before the 2016 presidential election, Comey announced the reopening of the investigation after new emails were discovered, only to close it again without charges shortly after. The timing and public nature of these announcements had a significant impact on the presidential election, leading to accusations of FBI interference in the political process. Comey's actions were criticized by both Democrats and Republicans and led to his eventual dismissal by President Donald Trump in 2017. Lessons learned. The Clinton email investigation highlighted the critical importance of maintaining impartiality and discretion in politically sensitive investigations. It underscored the need for clear guidelines and careful consideration of the timing and manner of public statements by the FBI to avoid undue influence on electoral processes. The FBI's history is marked by numerous successes in protecting national security and enforcing federal laws. However, the Bureau has also experienced significant failures that have led to tragic outcomes, public criticism, and calls for reform. These failures underscore the importance of transparency, accountability, and adherence to legal and ethical standards in all aspects of the FBI's work. Each of these incidents has provided valuable lessons that have influenced the Bureau's policies and procedures, aiming to prevent similar failures in the future. The FBI's evolution continues as it strives to balance national security with the protection of civil liberties, ensuring that its actions reflect the highest standards of justice and integrity. Reflecting on these historical failures highlights the need for constant vigilance, effective oversight, and ongoing reform within the FBI. The lessons learned from these incidents underscore the importance of maintaining public trust through transparency and accountability. As the FBI moves forward, it must remain committed to upholding the principles of justice and ensuring that its actions serve the best interests of the American people.